Welcome back here to the Real Estate of Mind podcast. It's been a minute. Thank you for joining us. We do have a returning guest. He's coming here to talk about what he's done in the last year, and we're excited to hear about it. He's traveled to Cleveland and done a lot of good things with that community, so we're excited to hear about that. Guys, if you don't remember, this is the broker, the owner of Imagination Brokerage, located here in Southern California. Welcome back, Richard. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure.
You were one of my
second or
you were
third.
one of my first interviews.
Yeah.
When I first started, I was like, "Hey, I want to do a podcast. I want to start it," and you were like one of the first ones. You're like,
No, it was great.
So I
and
appreciate
that was
your
when I first met
enthusiasm.
Sergio. Sergio's running around back behind the cameras over there, and I just want to do a really important shout out to Sergio from Vliz Media. That's VLIZ Media. He actually is now my social media and videography and editing person, and it's been a real pleasure working with him.
Nice.
And this has been a long time coming now for us to sit down and kind of recap. That was what, 2 years ago now? Almost 2 years.
I thought it was a year ago, but I mean, I could be wrong.
No, man, it was not. No, it was
okay. I've already aged that much. Okay.
Yeah.
It's all
good. It was like maybe like a year and like 10 months ago, something like that. Because I think we got together in like January of 2023.
I thought it was last year, but anyway, we can go back and check. I don't think it's it's not important now, but anyway, let's get right into it. Let's talk about Let's talk about you and I guess what you've done in the last year. I know.
Sure.
Well, first of all, I saw the interview. How did you end up getting an interview with the Cleveland? Was it
the mayor of East Cleveland? Yeah.
So East Cleveland.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh my gosh, dude, that was a whole story. So basically, my business partner who lives full time in Cleveland, she is really good at the just kind of networking around and hobnobbing with the politicians and all that stuff like that. Because what we've found is that, being, I guess, close to the kind of sources of political power there is a really great source of real estate leads. Because first of all, a lot of the people who kind of rise to the top there work in real estate anyway. And then in terms of, like trying to, because a lot of what we do there has to do with homes that are condemned or, abandoned or, stuff like that. So, a lot of these have fallen into kind of public ownership. And they've been, seized or foreclosed or, condemned by the city. And so, it's very helpful to be kind of like really tuned into that, because those have ended up being some of our best leads on houses to renovate. Although, first let me take a step back, because it just occurred to me, I don't think I had met her yet, my business partner, at the time that you and I last spoke. So I think it was January 2024.
Relatively.
Yeah, it was a relatively newer relationship. And I think literally a month after you and I talked was when I met her. So at the time that we last talked, and I don't know if Sergio is going to be able to find like a specific clip and kind of like roll it right here, right? I think right now is a great time to take all of your assets that were appreciation focused and turn them into cash flow focused assets. At the time, I knew that 2024 was going to be like a big year for investing, but I didn't know what that thing was going to be. Like I could feel it in the air. People wanted to invest. People were excited. And I had some money kind of lined up, committed to doing something that year. But at the time, I didn't really know exactly what that thing was going to be. So I kind of cast a wide net. Part of that was actually doing this podcast and starting to get more. I actually got like a really good investor, like a potential investor,
Nice.
like an inquiry after that. So, and so it's just overall kind of like putting that out into the world of saying like, hey, I want to fix and flip houses. I want to partner with somebody and fix and flip. Yeah. It's like when you shout that loud enough, people will hear you, and I just kind of put that out there. And, before long, I had like a couple general contractors out there kind of reach out to me and say like, hey, I like, here's something I'm seeing in my market. Is that something that you're interested in?
They reached out to you how?
Just like, I mean, like they were not necessarily like completely cold leads, but like people that I kind of like already sort of knew, but they like, it's like when you put that out there,
Right.
it all of a sudden, it kind of reminds people to kind of think of you and reminds people
Hmm.
to,
That you're in the
to
business.
reach
This is
out.
what you're
Yeah,
doing. Yeah, no, for
exactly.
sure.
Right.
It's
And
follow up.
so
Follow up until you die.
exactly. Stay top of mind,
Yeah,
etc.
stay top of
And
mind.
so, so happened to be top of mind when he started thinking about,
Right.
like he wanted to get into fix and flipping. And another agent that I knew out there, reached out because he knew that I was looking. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so I spoke with like 3 or 4 different real estate agents. I mean, maybe a lot more, but like noteworthy conversations of like 3 or 4, and just saw a bunch of different opportunities. Okay, we could fix and flip high end, we could fix and flip low end, we could do multifamily, we could start getting into, bigger apartment buildings. Like there were just lots of different ideas getting pitched at me,
Right.
which put me in kind of the luxurious position of being able to,
You're in the driver's seat.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
I get to pick and choose, what looks interesting. And I met this incredible woman, Dulce Garcia, who it was actually originally from Santa Ana,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and then it's very interesting how our lives kind of like looked kind of similar to an
Uh-huh.
extent, except during the pandemic when I decided to stay here and open a brokerage, she decided to move there and fix and flip houses like hands on,
Physically being
basically. Yeah,
there.
like she
Okay.
was there. And then fast forward 4 years, and I had a reasonably successful kind of brokerage and sort of like a long distance investing operation going on, and she had all these incredible leads and had fixed and flipped 5 houses, but then she started kind of like running to the end of her access to capital, and so here I am, literally on your podcast saying, hey, I've got now access to money that we don't really know what to do with. And she had these 2 deals in hand that she didn't have money for. She couldn't get money for. And we, met up, and we've
Collaborated.
been, yeah,
Yeah.
we've been working on this together ever since. And, that project where we got to meet up with the mayor that was our second project together, where she had just finished the renovation. We actually had our camera guy out there because I started learning like, hey, we have to film and photograph and chronicle the whole journey so that we can share that on social media.
Hmm.
And so we were literally doing that when a formal government car is like driving down the street, and Dulcie is like, wait a second, I think that's the mayor. And she like runs out there and she kind of like waves.
Really? Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, and then the interim mayor at the time, Sandra Morgan, came out of the car. She toured our project. She was absolutely blown away because this is a very, very low income
Mhm.
neighborhood. And for her to see something that's like we really do luxury renovations out there, even in the
The
roughest of the
lower
rough
income
areas.
area. Yeah.
And because our goal is to try to create a safe, comfortable home that can house like a big family in need, and then be able to do like a Section 8. They have a slightly different version of that there, but
Term.
they have
Yeah.
this program that helps families to be able to find safe, affordable housing. And so from Sandra's perspective, she was just absolutely blown away by what we had done. And we got like a nice photo and some video clips and things like that to
Yeah.
be able
Yeah.
to share. And then that led to being able to go and visit and sit down with her in person. I'm not going to get in all the like the details of it, but there was a bit of a political upset in East Cleveland this past year, where basically like the guy that had originally been elected mayor, he was kicked out of office. And then there've been now 2 interim mayors. There's been like a whole bunch of political strife there this year, but
Hmm.
Sandra is running to kind of like get the seat formally of the mayor's office. And I was also able to interview the other interim mayor as well, Latik Shabazz, who was the president of the city council in East Cleveland as well. And so, the fact that I was able to kind of meet both of these like very influential leaders in the area, and while also getting the chance to film some really great content and some great
Nice.
interviews. Like I filmed a great interview with my general contractor out there and all that. So it was all really, really great content, really good. Gives me a sense that what we're doing is really beneficial for
Yeah.
everybody involved. There's a lot of house flipping operations that can feel like they are overly gentrifying an area, overly pushing a community out, whereas we really see ourselves as being there kind of hand in hand with the community, and people from the top to the bottom and everywhere in between, everyone benefits.
Yeah, but I noticed something about what you were saying, and I'm a big investor as well.
Yeah.
And my main thing is, look, I want to get ROI. I want to be able to purchase and make a return on my investment.
Sure. Yeah.
You were saying that you were doing luxury flips, or use the term luxury. I don't know
Yeah.
if you
Mhm.
if you could talk a little bit more about that, because I do flips. Actually, I actually don't flip. I flip, but I long-term hold.
Right. Yeah.
I flip and long-term hold.
Yeah.
But I I would not consider myself a luxury flipper in a low income neighborhood.
Right.
So
Yeah.
why are you luxury flipping yeah, because the ROI is not there. I mean, I'm just trying to spend,
Sure.
I'm not going to say as little money as possible.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want to make it livable. I have a great property manager where I'm investing that
Mhm.
they're really helping me not only renovate, but bring it up to code
Yeah.
and make sure it's livable and rentable.
Sure.
And the numbers I'm doing are similar to the Cleveland numbers, but why are you doing luxury flips?
Sure.
Or why do you consider them luxury flips?
Yeah, of course. All right. Well, let me take because like in order to understand like this one little simple piece, it actually you have to kind of understand like the whole
Okay.
picture. Okay. And I'll put them in terms that a loan broker can understand.
LTVs and DTIs.
Yeah. So basically, this actually all starts with the fact that the vast majority of hard money lenders in this industry, I'm not going to bother, like if someone's watching this, they probably know what that is, so I'm not going to bother defining it. But like basically the vast majority of hard money lenders in this country have a minimum amount of value that they'll invest in, which is about $100,000. Like I know that there's like a small handful that'll go below that, but like as far as mainstream, as far as
it's very
big
difficult.
national
You're
things,
right.
yeah.
Yes.
And
yes.
One of the things that's going on is this whole eastern and also southwestern side of this, like all around Cleveland, there are houses that if they were kind of just brought to market as is, they'd be probably somewhere in the realm of like just shy of that, like $80,000-$90,000, but not really in condition where they're financeable with conventional loans either.
But you're talking about
so it's like
the purchase, but not the ARV. ARVs
yeah,
are
no.
mid to late 100,000s, right?
Yeah. Well, so
Your
because like
purchase
it really
price is
depends. It's
under
like
100.
it's like yeah. So all right. So let me
Yeah.
so the for a house that's in like livable condition, the median in these areas is probably somewhere or right around like 110 to 120. Okay. And then for houses that are fixers, they might not even really be that bad. They might just be just shy of that, like maybe in like the 80 to 90 range. But the problem is that if you can't find a lender for it, if no one will lend because it's too much of a fixer and it's too low of a value for hard money people to be able to do the loan, then the value plummets, right? We're in a super low income area. Who's going to have 80 or 90K in cash to be able to just go in and like buy this all cash and then fix it up themselves, right? And so the value goes down and down and down until it gets to a point where investors are able to afford it. And so where we're seeing this happen is something, again, that like I think in any other market, like if hard money was able to go down to a minimum of, let's say, $50,000, right? Then these houses would still be worth 80 or 90, but instead they're only worth like 40 to 60. Okay. And so that's a great point of entry for us. We go in there, houses between 40 to 60K. We buy it all cash. We renovate it all cash. And then we do a cash out refi. But the next part is, okay, how much are these properties able to be rented for, right? Market rents for them are only about $1,000, which will sort of, be able to match what is needed for a DSCR loan, kind of, but, it'd be right on the fence. However,
to max cash out.
Yeah. But the other kind of thing that's going on is because Section 8 rents are kind of set on a kind of a county by county level.
And a room by room basis.
Exactly, and room by room basis. And in Cuyahoga County, basically, like the median rent is high enough that like the rents that are offered through the Section 8 program are actually pretty high. I'm just spilling like the whole
No, go
secret
for it,
formula.
brother.
I'm just giving you
That's fine.
everything,
That's what the
right?
podcast is about,
Uh,
baby. Let's do it.
and so what we realized was that, if we just increase the bedroom counts on these on these houses quite a bit, we are able to, so like,
Higher
one of our
ROI.
projects, much higher ROI. We went on one from 4-bedroom 2-bath to a 7-bedroom 2-bath. We took a 3-bedroom 1-bath, turned it up to 5-bedroom 1-bath.
What square
right?
footages are you guys
And
looking at?
these are like over 1,000, like maybe like 1,500 square feet approximately.
So you're putting 7 bedrooms in a 1,500 square
We're just
foot
taking
house?
a like the
What are these, like little shack rooms?
No, I know.
You could barely fit a bed in there. Go ahead. Yeah.
Right. No, exactly. And because that brings up a really important point, which is that I didn't want to be like making tenement housing like, total like slumlord stuff, right? Yeah, that just wasn't my intent. And like my first few projects in Cleveland were all like very luxury, high end, and then I realized that banks hate that. Like they didn't like the fact that my income was so high on those relative to the surrounding area.
Well, you won't get the value.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't give me any of the value on it. Like I my first couple projects out there, I was only pulling out 50% of what I knew that the property was worth, because banks just don't like that, right? As opposed to when you go with the low end route, okay? And what we would do is we go up into the attic, convert the attic into livable space. So that does technically add like 500 square feet of livable space to the house, though that may or may not necessarily be like, I guess like legal, like official square footage, but it's still, from the purposes of this one of affordable housing, it totally works, right? Like they'll do it. Yeah.
Don't you need like 10-foot ceiling or 8-foot ceilings?
There's still certain rules that you have to follow in terms of like having it be like legally occupiable. I'm not talking about that standard. I'm talking about like the standards necessary for it to be counted by like the county assessor to be, larger or higher, whatever. But the point is that no, because like what I realized was we wanted to do these things right. We wanted to do them with like, good size rooms, high quality flooring, high quality finishes, top quality. Like, we gutted this place out and completely redid the electrical and the plumbing and the roof. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like we're really doing these places
full renovation.
up, full renovation. And the way we're justifying it is because when you add that level of bedroom count, then the amount of rental income that they're able to generate from like Section 8 is $1,800 a month. So $1,800 a month.
That's pretty high.
It's very high.
Yeah.
It's very, very high, right? We're talking about like, these projects on average are costing us about $80,000 to $100,000 total. Okay.
That's pretty good.
And
so you're 50 in renovation, 50 and 50.
Yeah.
Plus, and you're doing all cash and you're just paying closing costs. Got
right.
it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So now you're trying to kind of see how these numbers work out, where it's like, people have talked, people in like the fixing and rentals world talk about the quote unquote 1% rule.
Yep.
Like, in order to invest in something, I need to make sure that my every month my house is making, 1% of the purchase value of the house in rent, right? And we are breaking 2% on these. We are
if you take your purchase, but your purchase price is way low because
no. Purchase and renovation combined.
Oh, purchase. Okay.
Purchase and renovation combined, all in costs $90,000.
And you're doing 18.
And
you're doing 2.
We're doing 2%.
Yeah, 18.
Right. And so it's something where
90 is very low.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's very low.
So then
it's super duper low. And
it brings me to another question. But go ahead.
Yeah, sure. No, and our just to kind of like really kind of put a pin, like the final ribbon on it is, our first tenant was a single mom with like 4 kids, desperate for like a really nice, beautiful, safe house. And she's able to live in our house she only pays $50 a month out of pocket, $50 out of pocket per month. And the government is paying $1,782 for her to live there. Okay. Which now I take it to a lender. Lender sees that the vast majority of the rent is being paid by an institution, is guaranteed. The lenders love it. The tenant loves it, obviously. There's all these people in need that need the houses. And so the government entities that are funding these, like, they are happy because they're trying to rebuild a very
Yeah.
economically struggling part of our
I
country.
mean,
And I mean, families are the backbone, the cornerstone of rebuilding a community. So we get more of these types of things done, and those kids grow up healthy, happy, well educated. They fix the entire community.
yeah. No, I was gonna just, you reminded me of another thing, but
Yeah. No, please. Yeah, go
um,
ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure, how good it is for the community in a long-term basis if we're because the problem with a woman like that you just reminded me of,
Sure. Yeah.
she's gonna be accustomed
Sure.
to not paying rent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then technically, she has to stay in poverty
Hmm.
for the government to pay her rent.
Mm.
So, I guess for the short term, I think it's a good idea for her
Yeah.
to kind of get back on her feet. We want her to have a clean house, a
Right. Yeah.
shower,
Of
all
course.
that
Of
kind of
course. Yeah.
stuff. But long term, I don't know how good it is for Cleveland, or not for the United States, as a
Yeah.
matter
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
fact,
Yeah. Because
really.
this is, to be clear, this is like a federal,
Yeah, no,
national
it is.
level
It is. It's a
program,
federal,
right?
it's a
Like, it's
United
not like
States
a,
thing.
yeah.
But yeah, again, we don't have to get this has to do with like rental laws, and this is politics and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
But yeah,
exactly. Like, we're talking about politics in that situation, which I don't necessarily disagree with, right?
yeah,
In this situation, you
because she
know,
is going to get used to it.
right, yeah.
But then that puts you in a position, but then you're constantly getting paid
Yeah.
as a landlord. So then you can consistently, the whole problem with this idea is like the slumlord aspect of
Right,
it. But if
right.
if the government is constantly essentially paying you more per year for inflation, then you can constantly keep the property
Right, yeah.
updated and
We
stuff
keep the
like so.
property
It works, I
going.
guess, but she just has to stay in
She
poverty.
well, I mean, and here's the other thing, right? Like, she loves the house.
Yeah.
She's getting such a great deal. She's going to take good care of it. I think that taking a step back, let's look at it from two different perspectives, right? First, I
Right.
want to like really emphasize that from the landlord's perspective, I think a lot of people are reluctant to get into Section 8 because, oh, Section 8 people destroy houses and it's so bad for the neighborhood, or, whatever.
Hmm.
Whereas, respectfully, in my experience, most of these people are so grateful for the opportunity that they are, they take really good care of the houses. I mean, obviously,
I think the
like,
list is really long to get
yeah,
to a section. That's why
right.
they finally got their opportunity
Yes,
to get a
exactly.
house, and
Exactly.
they're taking care of it, which is
Exactly.
okay.
And if you mistreat the house and if you get kicked out, at least in this program in Cleveland, you don't get to come back. And so,
There's
it's
loopholes
something
around
where,
that, but
yeah.
yeah.
Well, sure.
There's
But
because
it's something where, I believe very strongly that while, yes, there are risks, there's risks to any rental. You know what I mean? Okay. Now, in terms of society, I mean, I can definitely see, I mean, you can make the same argument broadly about any kind of welfare system or any
of
kind of,
course,
whatever.
yeah.
But we could sit here and talk kind of basically competing numbers, both ways about what long-term benefit, because yes, there is a high shortened midterm cost, but I think that there are a lot of long-term benefits. But we don't need to get into the whole political conversation. You know what I mean?
I mean, we can if you want, but but anyway, we talked about your ROI on these properties.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to talk to you about was acquisition.
Sure.
And how you're acquiring these properties. You briefly touched on that the mayor was, or some type of political figure was giving you
Sure.
essentially leads, or your partner was giving you leads.
Yeah.
But the majority of these properties, the majority of these, how are you acquiring the majority of them?
Sure. Yeah. And to me, we're not getting leads from the mayor. That's not,
Okay, I don't know.
no, I know. Yeah. I want to make that clear, but more just that, like, I'll just say generally, it's like there's the very influential people in Cuyahoga County, by and large, are involved in real estate, at least in some capacity. That's just sort of like like one of the big industries out there. And and yeah, basically the more you kind of network around in that community, the more you're going to meet people who, oh yeah, like they have tons of properties, like they'll just buy up dozens of these,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they just bank them for a long time and wait for them to go up in value before they sell them. In other cases, they try to be more actively involved. You can't fix and flip all of them by yourself. There's just too many of them.
Right.
I mean, these houses are worth like a fraction of how much it would be to build a new house from scratch,
Mm-hmm.
and they're much needed housing. And so it's like, you can't destroy them, but you can't fix them up. Financially, it doesn't make sense. The lenders stay away from it. It is just such I mean, there's a reason why the ROI is so disproportionately high,
Yeah.
is because it is very realistically a very high risk place to invest in real estate,
But these homes have good bones. They're all
yeah.
older homes with really just old mature wood that really
Yes.
lasts for a really long time. So
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
think they're still good properties in
And they're
general. They just need to be
beautiful.
renovated. Yeah.
They're beautiful. The bricks are beautiful. The wood trims are beautiful. There's I try to preserve as many of the original details as I can whenever I do one of my
Hmm.
flips. I absolutely do not do a whole like white and gray mass
Yeah.
manufacture HGTV,
Oh yeah. The white
type of
cabinets or
thing,
whatever, the
Yeah,
white
yeah, yeah. No, no. I really try to capture what makes that
so you're
house
just
special and
networking around
preserve it.
town essentially, but you guys are physically or I guess on
Essentially,
the
okay.
phone or and
Yeah.
physically, yeah.
So yeah, I can talk a little bit more about lead gen in particular. So I think one of the things that people don't, maybe a lot of the kind of newbie investors don't really realize, is how much the leads come to you the more you're out there. And again, like just like this, the more visible you are, right? I bought a couple properties, and one of them is no longer in my personal name. It's in a corporation name, but one of them is still in my name. And that I'm going to keep it that way for a long time, because I get calls constantly from people saying, "Hey, do you want to sell it? Hey, do you want to, whatever," right? I get calls and text messages constantly. And I get this too, also just being a real estate broker. As a real estate broker, I just get probably 5 text messages a day, and like
Oh
30
man.
spam calls a day
Yeah,
about,
yeah, yeah.
like, "Hey, do you want to sell this? Do you want to do that?" And what I say every single time, I don't just wave it all away. I always say, "I am not selling right now, but I am buying. You can add me to your investor mailing list." Now, the majority of these people are just like outsourced lead gen people who just hang up or just like delete your phone number as soon as you
Hmm.
say it, which is also good. I'm also not on that spam list anymore, right?
Right, right, right.
But for the people who are serious, who are actually good at their jobs, they take that seriously. I have like a real conversation with them
Hmm.
about what my buy box is, all that. And now I've got one incredible wholesaler who is doing like literally 5 deals a week out there. And I've got like a few others that I keep in touch with on a regular basis, not to mention other people who are like professional money raisers that I've learned a lot from over the past couple of years. Like they've been willing to kind of share some of their lessons and ideas and business
Hmm.
models with me, as I've kind of like become one of their peers, and I'm able to chat with them about
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And so it really, it's like the more you play the game, and the more visibly you do it, right? The more the leads just start to come to
And the
you.
more deals you close, you'll close more deals. That's kind of what I tell the guys here at our office as well,
Yes.
that, always be closing, baby.
Always be closing, but also shouting from the
Yeah,
rooftops that it's happening,
yeah.
right? Because there's a lot of people that also produce, but it's invisible, right? Like for some reason, there's like people, and I get this as well. I'm not going to name any names, but I've had like agents that worked for me in the past who don't want to tell anyone that they're a real estate agent, right? Like
That's your
they're
job,
just so
buddy.
shy
That's
about
your
like
job.
saying it on social media. They don't want to change their little career thing. Maybe they're just feeling things out, right? They're not sure. They don't want to come across as one of those people, right?
Right.
And the problem is, hey, listen, you either fully commit to it and
Get
you
out.
really do it, or you don't.
Yeah, just get out. Just be ruthless.
Yeah.
Just get out, man. If you're not in it, you're not in it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
all these properties you've been able to purchase. I know we didn't brush up on this last time, I
Sure.
don't
Sure. Yeah.
think,
Of
but
course.
you're kind of into crowdfunding now, or you're into you're bringing other investors along, you're helping people out.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your I don't know if you would call it crowdfunding
Crowdfunding is not the
or,
technical term
or
for it that you can
raising
use. Yeah, yeah.
capital
But basically, yes. So since the last time we spoke, because
or
I had the
syndications
yes,
or
I had the ambition to create a syndication at the
right,
time.
right.
I want to just do things all cash. So I'm actually pooling cash together with other investors and just going in as joint ventures to buy up these properties. And since that time, I created one. So we made a formal syndication. I found an amazing attorney in Cincinnati who was referred to me actually by one of my old colleagues from USC, who is now also like a big time like real estate syndicator. He's got big like like 35 to 75 unit properties that he's working on.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's where I would love to be in like another 10 years. And
So
he's taught me a
large
lot.
scale
Yeah.
property syndications. This is kind of
Yes.
where you want to go.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know about exactly that, but I mean, certainly just in terms of, he's a very smart guy, very experienced working on these big projects now. So whether that looks like that for me, I don't really know. For me, my tastes kind of lean more towards commercial retail and things like that because it's my comfort zone. I started out my career as a restaurateur. So I mean, like for me, it's like a dream would be like fixing and flipping shopping centers is
Cool.
something that, but anyway, but that's kind of like
Yeah.
a little ways away.
Yeah, but how'd you get into the
uh
syndication
and
world?
so yeah,
Yeah.
so I knew I needed to get experience with raising money.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that because I did that a little bit back when I was in my 20s, because like whenever you want to open up a new restaurant, open up a new bar or something like that, by and large, you're not getting that money from a bank or anything. You're raising that money from investors,
Mm-hmm.
usually people that just have a big ego. They want to have a place that's like, oh yeah, that's my bar, and like go and like they hang out there. They get the special VIP table for investors,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
I did a lot of that schmoozing and selling of
Cool.
shares of restaurants and bars back then. And the mechanisms are basically the same. The private placement memorandum, the fact that it's kind of under like a special subsection exemption from the SEC, et cetera, et cetera. Like, there's a bunch of rules you have to follow in terms of, sharing your business plan, your private placement memorandum. People have to say whether they're an accredited or unaccredited investor, blah, blah, blah. And, so I already had a background in that where I knew some of that stuff, but I'd never done a real estate syndication specifically, which does have a lot of other rules and other things that you need to do kind of layered on top of that basic money raising. And then, I had these friends specifically in mind that I know they've been saving money forever to be able to buy a house in Southern California. And, like, what it's like. Southern California, you have $100,000, $200,000. It's nothing. It's nothing. You can bend and scrape and struggle and sacrifice for a decade and have all this money, and it still is just it's nothing. You can't even afford a 1-bedroom condo.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And
yeah, we're there.
So I had those friends in my mind and my heart this whole time. Like I first got into investing out of state because I wasn't thinking about, hey, where can I afford to invest in real estate?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about my friends and thinking like, if those friends were to give me their life savings of $100,000, like where can I go in this country where I can make the most out of that money possible? And so, that was already in the back of my mind when I first started getting into investing in Ohio.
What a guy.
And
man.
then
he's caring for others. What a guy.
Yeah. And he's like, I mean,
yeah,
I've never felt that before. I don't really know what that's
I don't have
like,
feelings,
but,
so I don't know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
No. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, it's just, I knew I was like, I had this profile in my head of like, I know lots of millennials who have somewhere between $100,000 to $200,000 saved.
That's good
up.
money, by the way.
You know
Most
what
people
I mean?
do not have that.
Well, no, most people don't, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just,
just want to reiterate, people actually don't have that money. I work with those kind of people all day, and they're still buying home. But it is, anyway, continue. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes, exactly. No, I mean, there's especially right now, a lot of great ways to be able to buy houses, because essentially, like, banks have gotten incredibly scared and desperate over the last 5 years, ever since the pandemic, and now they're like the loans are really happening, and guys like this over here are making it happen.
Pushing them through for all you people that are You know,
Yeah.
the average American, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I know exactly the average American. Anyway, so I knew that the list was fairly long of people that,
Wanted
you
to
know,
invest
would
and just
want to
didn't know
invest
what
and
to
just don't know
do.
what to
Right.
do. They
Okay.
want to get in the game of real estate. They want to own something and they don't have access to that, right? So I was like, all right, where can I go where like the bite-sized chunks are between 50 to $100,000 and I can, you know, help my friends to be able to get in on the game. Even if it's not here, it's
Yeah.
somewhere, you
So walk
know?
me through it, Richard. I want to invest with you.
Okay.
What do I have to do? What's the plan? What are you going to show me? What are we going to
Sure.
do? When am I going to get my money back? How much am I going to make?
Sure, sure,
Where are you
sure.
going to invest?
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course, of course. Now this starts to cross the line into private placement memorandum, right? Like
Okay.
there's rules about how I can talk about this
No,
in
of
a
course,
public forum,
but
you know, but
really quick before
you
you
know,
continue. So
yes, yeah,
as
yeah,
far as I know, so you're syndicating real estate. A
yeah,
syndication is when you've actually already identified a property.
sure,
So you can speak. So when you're having a private interview with
yeah,
me or if I'm one of your or
right,
what
right,
you would speak on that specific property, because to my knowledge, there's another term. Actually, it's just called a real estate fund or a fund
yeah,
where you're investing in a buy. Like I trust this person
right, right,
and I'm going to invest in his fund, and he probably has a buy box of what he's going to do.
yeah, yeah.
But a syndication is when you've actually identified a property.
I'm not a lawyer, so I
But I play
don't
one on TV.
know. Yes, right, exactly, right. So I don't know how the wording is different between fund and syndication. For
That's what I
ours,
know. That's
I
what I
know
know.
that our lawyer was, because I made it very clear I need it to be a little bit of both, right? So it's written as
So
a
you
little
have
bit
and
of
have
both.
not
So
identified.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So because what happened was we identified our first two properties,
Hmm.
and then what we really wanted to be able to do was basically do kind of like a little burr where we would the Burr method, where we would, you know, buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and then repeat, like take that money and put it into a new
Hmm.
set of properties. And you
So
know,
what's the time
there's,
frame for all this?
I mean, in practice, so like I knew it was going to take a couple of years. You know what I mean? To like do kind of like really get our feet wet, get the whole thing kind of up and running.
Hmm.
And so you know, and I'd say that you know, originally, basically at the end of the first year, I told my my investors, I said, hey, listen, you can exit now if you want to. We did a successful refinance, and kind of written into the private placement is, and maybe this isn't like a normal thing in private placements, but like basically what I said was to them, you know, just like as friends, if you're done, if you want out, we'll just buy you out. Like we'll take the refinance money and just buy you out. But if you're still interested, if you still like this, you
If you
want
want
to
to
just
roll
keep
your
it in,
money
you want to
into
roll
it,
your money to the
yeah.
next thing, we can do that, right? And basically everybody unanimously decided they wanted to roll the money into the next wave of things.
Right.
And so you know, yeah, and so now, like, long story short, we started with two and we have five more on the way now. So
Nice.
yeah, yeah.
These are all syndications.
No, not within the same syndication. These are properties.
Oh,
You
so you
know,
flipped
these
one into
are
five?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, started with two, and now we did a cash out refi, and that gave us enough to be able to acquire five more.
And you're buying the five, well, in the syndication with all cash?
Yes.
Good for you. Wait, so you turned two into five. I mean,
Yeah.
and then we still have, well, you cashed out, so we still have the two. And the
Yeah.
other two are still cash flowing.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna just be
They're not just cash flowing. They're like they're making like
well, the cash, yeah. I mean,
good money. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean,
they're
like
cash
they're
flowing. I mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah. No. Well, because
but
you
they're
know,
just
like
raining on you. Oh.
there's yeah, yeah, yeah. There's cash flow, and then there's like cash flow, right?
Cash cow.
And like yeah. And I mean, these are doing really, really well for us. And so that gave us the opportunity to yeah. Pardon me. Four of them are all cash transactions. One of them we're trying out our first hard money loan because we found a hard money lender who's willing to do below 100,000.
Nice.
And so, you know, they're based in Ohio. They understand the market. They saw the same opportunity that I did of like, hey, wait a second, like there's this gap created here. We can, you know, make money just because the market is behaving so weird and just this one little like just sub $100,000 gap. And so yeah, so we're working on that right now. And so far so good.
No, man, that's awesome. Man, so you met with the Cleveland mayor. You're doing all these properties. So
Yeah.
what's the end goal here? You guys look like, and another thing is I like the way that you guys have you've niched out, because I always tell people to kind of stay in a niche, and
Yeah.
you're in a niche or in a bubble where you really, really understand. And it's hard to lose when you really understand something, just
Yeah.
because you know all the benefits, the pros and the cons and things like
Oh, I've
that.
made every mistake along the
Yeah, I
way.
was gonna say,
You know what I
speak a
mean?
little bit to that, in
Yeah.
terms of, I was actually, that was one of my things I wanted to have the audience in on,
Sure.
is you've already purchased, sold, bought, renovated, refined, whatever, a lot of
Right.
properties.
Yeah.
What's something now that you've learned that you'll be able to kind of, do again, or take into your next project? A
Sure.
mistake that you've made that you won't make again,
Oh,
basically.
sure, sure, sure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, and I think I said this on your
The last
on
one you
the
talked
last one.
about,
Yeah, I talked about a big plumbing,
the tree issue.
gigantic plumbing issue
I've
that I
had plumbing
had.
issues too.
All it takes is a pretty small crack for plant roots to start sensing that there's water in your sewer line and start sending roots down to drink it up. And that is a problem that won't be noticeable right away, but that within a pretty short period of time can get completely out of control. And you have to dig out an entire tree and spend a lot of money rebuilding your entire sewer line just to fix it. Thousands and thousands of dollars, right? Oh man,
But
yeah,
now
yeah,
with
yeah,
like
yeah.
with you're doing syndications, and
Yeah.
you're splitting rooms and
Sure,
all
sure.
this kind of stuff. So it's a little bit, yeah, what's going on?
Let me start. Like, I don't have a specific answer to that quite in mind right now, but let me
Okay.
just kind of talk about just something I've overall realized
Mhm.
about this business, which is that I thought that understanding real estate really well, like understanding the market, understanding how things rent, understanding construction, renovation costs, stuff like that. I thought that that was the game, but that is just like the entry ticket to the game. That gets you here, right?
Okay.
In order to get to here, you have to understand banking and lending and finance to
And leverage.
like an absurd degree. Like you really have to understand like the different personalities of different types of banks and different types of lenders. You have to have an arsenal of lenders and loan brokers that you can refer out for like very specific types of deals and projects, because like just knowing, hey, this is the person I'm going to reach out to for this type of property, and this is the type of person I'm going to reach out to for that type of buyer, et cetera, et cetera. Like just having that knowledge
Right.
is a big deal. I don't have to tell you that at this point in your career, I'm sure you can name, all right, this group of lenders, I won't even bother talking to them about this type of thing. And then those
Correct.
types of lenders, those are the ones. And I didn't come into this as a lender expert. I just kind of assumed that the money just sort of comes when you do the real estate right.
Yeah. Certain people
And
lend on certain properties.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it is like you like, for those of you at home, if you have not personally experienced the hell of like just cold calling lenders all day for like an entire week trying to find people who can give you a fair deal on
Right.
a loan, like until you've experienced that, you can't fully appreciate the value of someone like this,
I
you
appreciate
know.
it. Yeah.
So
No, shopping for lenders it's tough, man. It's tough. I get, so yeah,
yeah.
and some people do it to like till they're blue in the face, and
Oh
they
sure, yeah.
waste days and things like that. I'm
Yeah.
like, and then they end up still coming back to me. I'm like, what, you found out nothing.
Right.
But it's great to find somebody that you trust,
Yeah.
especially in the lending world. They'll help you a lot. But yeah, anyway.
No. I mean, if I'll just call this out. That one of my big recent mistakes is I didn't call you about the most recent one. You know what I mean? Like I should have called you the first time, but I don't know. I was dumb.
What are you guys
We
doing?
already had
Your cash. You're doing the hard money.
No. This is with one of the cash out
Oh, the
refis.
DSCR.
Yeah, with the
Yep.
DSCR.
Yep.
There was I won't even name them because I don't want to like.
Yeah, I
But
know
like
who they are.
there's like a
Yeah.
big corporate entity that my partner had worked with a couple times before.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and I was like, you know what? Let's just kind of like keep it going, since my default for the first year or plus was just because like since I had not done this specific activity before in Cleveland, but my partner had. So I was like, let's just go with your contractor. Let's go with your lender. Let's go with your
people, all your services.
all your people.
Yeah.
I don't want to mess up a good thing. Let's just see how this runs, And then now at this point, it's like, okay, now I see where my people fit in, where I would want my person to do this, where there's still gaps that we need to hire different types of people that we didn't have before. So yeah, I mean, like,
So just filling in your team and making sure your
yeah,
team is aligned and streamlined, I think, is
yeah.
one of the mistakes
It's
that you're
it's
kind of
exactly.
mentioning.
Well, and it's a constant one too, because just because someone's really good at something this year doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to be good at that role next year, right? Like sometimes people, understandably and totally, I appreciate this. I love that there's a lot of people that I worked with on my first couple projects that now that they've got all the experience and all that, they're twice as expensive. Like
We can't afford you anymore,
and I
buddy.
can't, yeah, we can't afford them
Yeah,
anymore,
exactly.
which is good for them, right? Like they should be moving on and like doing, because like the houses we work on, I mean, some of them are just in absolute just horrific shape,
Right.
and very justifiably there's a lot of contractors out there who are like, you know what, I just don't want to do that. Just don't want to mess with houses like that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so so yeah, so we're like constantly like growing and refining the team, trying to find people that really understand investments and really are able to understand, like, having real estate brokers that are able to sell these on the other side in certain cases, super difficult, right? Because sometimes like these houses, you can't just list them on the MLS and just have like regular people like find them and buy them.
Mhm.
You have to really understand the market for investing and really tailor, to those types of people. There's some lessons that my partner learned recently about, because one of her previous houses she sold to family, and now it's like a huge dramatic situation, with her
Yeah.
family. Um, Gosh, yeah, so many like it's like there are too many little lessons to even count at this point,
Yeah, but I guess
like
that's what
there's too
experience is
many.
worth.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what experience is worth, and that's the point of, I guess, syndicating with somebody like yourself, that your
right.
money is more safe if you have the team,
Yeah.
you've already made all the mistakes and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that's cool, man.
Trying to do it yourself, trying to go someplace new and do it completely from scratch. I guarantee you, depending on the scale of what you're doing, you're going to make anywhere between like 25 to $100,000 worth of tangible mistakes in the first year, you know?
Can you look at a property now with your experience of looking at all these properties
Yeah.
and estimate how much it's gonna cost?
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, of course. Absolutely. And again, I used to think that that was the game. I used to be so proud of
That you can
myself
just like, oh,
that I'm
this is
like,
a
"Oh yeah, like
it's
this is
50
blah blah blah.
grand
I
or
know this. Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah." Like I thought that was the game. That is not the game,
That's some of the game.
And then
It's a
it's
part.
some
It's
of
a
the game. I mean,
piece.
it's an important, like I said, it gets you a ticket to enter.
Yeah.
Like now that you're in the game, now you have to understand this stuff. And then to get to the next level above that, we didn't even like talk about how, first I had to learn how syndications work. I had to find the right lawyer. I know there's lots of people who've had this same exact thing where they try to build a real estate fund and then they
Mhm.
work with the wrong lawyer. You know what I mean? They work with the wrong people to try to raise the money. They start giving away a bunch of shares and then they realize, wait a second, actually technically all of that is illegal. And we've now broken a bunch of SEC laws, that
Yeah.
sort of thing, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that
Yeah.
you have to learn about that along the way towards raising money. And then finally, for me, like my next horizon, the next goal for me is really understanding taxes and retirement accounts, because that's where a huge portion of the
Mhm.
money
Taking money out of
is in people
IRAs.
trying to, yeah, do self-directed IRAs,
Yep.
people who their primary goal, because like, you talk to people who are like, the mainstream, the vast majority of us, right? And they're just like, hey, I saved a bunch of money. What do I do with it? Right. But up at this level, those people are like, hey, I make too much money. How do I pay less in taxes?
Right. I
Right.
know people like
And
that.
that's exactly, and
Mhm.
that's a very different question that you have to have like a very, very different answers for. And thankfully, we're starting to get some really just like some of the tax advantages of doing what we're doing the way we're doing it are immense,
Good. That's
absolutely
awesome.
immense.
Well, and you guys are helping, I know there's a lot of tax benefits to helping, I don't know the exact criteria,
Sure,
but
sure.
helping the low income or the
Yes.
low, whatever you want to call it,
There's that
communities.
aspect of it. There's the fact that,
Because you're building
yeah,
low income housing, you get like a tax credit, right?
yes, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know the details. It's just a generality,
Right, right,
but
right.
yeah.
And then there's also a lot of other things that have to do with basically, what do you call this? So basically, so a lot of people talk about, being able to write off depreciation, you know, and
It's way
I
harder
yeah, I won't
than,
get into like all like that
yeah.
because like this starts to get super duper technical, right? But writing off depreciation, depending on how you do that math, can be monstrous. It'd be absolutely gigantic. Like we are in a situation right now where we didn't structure this specific fund for doing it like this because that wasn't our primary goal. But all I need is for kind of the right investors or the right number of people to express the right amount of money that they want to invest, which really, again, in this case is not very much. Like if I had someone who has this type of tax savings question, it's like, hey, listen, I've got $100,000-$200,000. Like, what can you do? Tomorrow I would call up my lawyer. I know exactly what we would set up. Like there's a certain way of structuring the syndication that we're able to pass through the tax benefits directly to them. There's a way of doing the corporate taxes such that we are taking the depreciation so high that it completely offsets like
you're talking about the bonus
all the
depreciation?
income, everything, it's just,
or
it's
cost segregation.
This is something I'm trying to think about how technical I want to get and how much of this
I guess we
share, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, because cost segregation is like, it's already so technical, but long story short, yes, all of that stuff. Yes.
Yeah, just getting into all, depending on the opportunity.
Yeah. And I'm not a tax expert, so I can't like really get into like super technical details, on camera. But long story short, I'm very excited about the tax benefits of kind of like phase 2 of what we're working on.
Yeah. So I know I was just thinking about something random and something that people always ask me, because I invest in Northern Indiana, which is, it's a similar market.
Yes.
But people are always asking me how I'm doing properties at these type of prices. And how I'm renovating like I'm renovating like a 2,000 square foot home for maybe 55,000. And I'm talking about front to bottom to back to plumbing, inside, whatever, everything.
Yeah.
And that same house in Southern California.
Oh, sure.
Would be in the 3 times. I'd be about $150,000
without question. Yeah.
So I don't know if you would know the answer to this. I know you're not a contractor, but what is the main difference? Is it materials? Is it labor? Is it a combination? Why is it so expensive to renovate homes? And I guess high cost areas, because we're from Southern California.
Right. Yeah.
So Southern California, why is it 3 times the price to renovate the same home?
Sure. I'll give you a few different answers to that question, because this was like a big learning experience for me. So if I had to give like kind of distill one sort of big learning point for me for the Ohio market is for people who are accustomed to the way things work in California, it's that licensing contractors in Ohio is far more flexible. You can call yourself a general contractor and it's just, it means nothing in Ohio.
Yeah. I know Indiana, you actually don't need a license.
You don't need a license at all.
Yeah.
Like literally, like, there's people, they just go out, they just get a business card that says general contractor and boom, they're a general contractor.
Boom, baby.
Yeah,
off
exactly.
to business. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. And so
I've had issues with that actually.
Right.
But
And so in a world where that it's like that, the quality of work
West
is really, really low.
You got to be able to vet these people out. Cause I mean, like I just said, I know that, I got screwed royally by a guy and that's when I ended up finding out that you do not need to have a contractor's license. He was totally a mom and pop.
Yeah.
He had no idea what he's doing.
Yeah.
His wife was like a school teacher.
Yeah.
And she was off there painting my bathrooms, dripping all over my toilets and stuff. Yeah. There's pictures of the toilets. They're full of paint. They didn't even remove the toilet to paint the bathroom. I'm like, come on. They didn't cover it up. And there was paint in the tub. It was an absolute joke. Anyway, obviously I kicked that guy out.
No. And this is not dissimilar from my experience
but that's basically what I found out, that you don't, after that experience, you don't need to be. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, that's, and he was super cheap and he was going to do the whole house. It's okay. It's really
supposedly
quick.
Right. Like
no, he was going to do the whole house
theoretically.
For $30K. He was going to do the whole house.
Yeah.
He was halfway through it. He wasn't halfway done. Yeah. So then I basically kicked him off the project. Mm-hmm. And then he tells me, hey man, if your next contractor can't do this for $5,000, they're ripping you off. Like $5,000. He's like, cause I'm pretty much done. Long story short, I actually had to redo everything. It cost me about $55 to redo the whole thing because he destroyed it.
Yes, yeah.
The plumbing, he was trying to do, it was an absolute joke.
Yeah. No, it happens.
So I paid a huge lesson.
It absolutely happens, yes.
Not knowing that contractors don't need to be contractors out there. But anyway,
Yeah.
So why do you think?
That was my first project with my first house, right? Some dude, I paid him $10,000. He went in, demolished my kitchen, and then disappeared forever.
Couldn't reach him.
Couldn't reach him. I thought there was no way that could happen because he was a tenant of one of my associates at the time. So he was living in the guy's house. And so I thought, like, at the very least we pay him this money and then he's going to at least be able to pay rent to my friend. He stops paying rent to my friend, never answers my phone calls, and then just vanishes.
Loser.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. He got his 10K and he was just done.
Oh,
he was
man.
gone. And so, yeah, no, that is like a huge thing. And then there's other stuff though in Ohio that is weirdly expensive. Like painting, for some reason, you need a bunch of wild like licenses and stuff like that to paint in Ohio because of the danger of asbestos and lead. There's like asbestos and lead in everywhere there.
Older
So
homes.
whereas, so I actually find that the cost of painting in Ohio is almost double what it would be in California. You know,
but the overall project budget is a third.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, labor costs for sure. I mean, here it's like just kind of speaking from a perspective you might not be familiar with, but even like a pretty only like a moderately experienced contractor is easily going to get $40 to $60 an hour here, well over 100 in some cases. And there it's like $20 or $30 an hour for even a fairly experienced
so labor costs
person,
are 5 times, could be 5 times.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really Labor's the bulk of it. It's labor costs. It's the majority of the thing, especially like just having kind of that, there's sort of a line between kind of totally unskilled and skilled labor in this situation, right? Like someone who can lay down, LVP flooring, which you basically, if you're able to measure stuff and cut with a razor blade, you can do it, right? But even then, like some people can't even really do that, right? So you need somebody who has just enough skill to be able to cut clean lines and measure stuff and do good, but also for that particular task, you don't need them to be, 20 years of experience, blah, blah, blah. Right. So anyway, so being able to understand your labor pool, being able to have easy access to unskilled or partially skilled labor is like a whole other thing. I mean, realistically in Southern California, I know that I mean, this is kind of going off topic, but like what's really happening is that general contractor is taking the lion's share of that money that you're talking about, and then they're just outsourcing all of it to like cheap subcontractors, some of whom are using illegal, unskilled, whatever labor. I mean, people who are very hardworking and actually very good at their jobs, and then there's there's all these other layers of people who are making money off of their backs. But that's like a that's that is a whole separate topic.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, but I'd love to get into it though. Those are topics I love, guys. But
the controversy, the dirty parts of the industry. I love the
controversy, man.
Yeah, if you want,
we can
get a little
maybe talk about that some other time. Basically, yeah. No, again, thank you for joining us. I had one last thing. I don't know if you could talk about this.
Yeah.
But if an individual would invest with you and your company and your syndication and things like that, are you allowed to, like, when can I come out, or when can I come out at, can I pull out at any turn, or is there certain types of?
So what we've done is we've set it up such that every time we sell or refinance a property, you have that opportunity to get bought out.
So it should be, realistically once every 6 months, once a year, maybe, in that.
Approximately.
Oh, okay.
Approximately.
Okay.
I can't promise that. I can't, like, that's
not. No. We just want to know what the goals are.
That's sort of the handshake. Yeah, that's the basic goal. That's the basic goal. That's the basic plan.
Yeah.
That is the agreement that, because the problem is that if you put that down in writing like that,
then you have to guarantee it.
Then it becomes, then it becomes a more similar to a real estate investment trust, and we can't be a trust. We are not a trust. So there's certain things where it's like, and again, like I'm not a lawyer, so I can't say, I don't know exactly where the line is.
Yeah, that's fine.
So because I don't know where the line is, I need to stay kind of far away from the line. So,
I get it.
Yeah. But I will I can broadly say that my goal from the beginning for the syndication has been, I want people to, whether their taste is buy and hold long term, or their taste is be able to kind of fix and flip, essentially, like get their money in and then get all their money out plus profit within like a year. Long story short, being kind of vague about this, I want to be able to satisfy both groups. And then if at any point we get to a point where we're unable to satisfy both groups with one syndication, we'll just split off and do a second one. So basically, you know, it also kind of another plan on the table is we create one syndication that basically fixes and flips. And then we start a second syndication that primarily buys property from the first syndication, you know? And so that kind of creates sort of the best balance
synergy
of both.
right there.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
the best
that.
synergy.
Yeah.
Right now, we haven't had to do that because it's just been really close friends and family that have
Once
invested.
you get big, and when you get big enough,
aligned. But
Richard,
when we get big enough, yeah,
yeah, you'll have that opportunity, and then you can
Yeah.
go into bigger and better, bigger projects, and just do more projects,
That's
so
the
on and
hope.
so forth.
That's the hope.
Thanks you guys for tuning in. We talked a lot about, you know, Richard's, you know, endeavors out there in Cleveland. He's
Yeah.
really changing the landscape out there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of money to be
Sure.
made. So obviously, Richard's contact information will be there. I don't know if
Yes,
you're taking
we'll put it all down
investors.
there. Yes, we are taking investors. Again, I can't say that I'm selling investment shares on a public podcast, but what I will say is if you're interested in learning more, please do reach out. You can find me at imaginationbroker.com. You can find me Richard J. Wayland on Facebook. You can find me at the Imagination Brokerage on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, you know,
Pigeon carrier,
yeah, pigeon carrier, yeah, and that's all. I'm looking over here because it's all thanks to this guy, Sergio. You know, maintains my my socials on every single platform. And, you know, so wherever you like to consume content, you know, wherever you're seeing this right now, please feel free to comment here on this video, send me a message. I read every single comment, every single message. I love answering questions. And if, you know, you talk to me a little bit more in private, you like what I have to say, then I'm happy to send over those kind of investor materials over to you. I also would love to emphasize the fact that, you know, all of this, as of right now, I don't make the bulk of my money from investing in Ohio. Right now, I reinvest everything that I make there. So I pull out basically nothing from that activity. My real bread and butter is I'm a real estate broker. We have an office right down the street from Andrew here. And, you know, if you need to buy, sell, lease, or invest in anything in Southern California, please do reach out to us. I mean, the Imagination Brokerage, we're a little bit everywhere. And, you know, this year has been an absolutely stellar year. We've sold houses in Los Angeles, Inland Empire, Orange County, and San Diego County. And, you know, it's been really, really stellar. Like, I feel like the investment content gets the eyeballs on social media because it stands out a little bit more. But what people really stay for is the fact that I use my eye for construction, my eye for renovation, my relationships with contractors and people like that to make the most of every purchase and sale right here at home.
Yeah.
You know, you want to make as much profit as you can from every single one of your real estate transactions, whether it's a personal residence or something for your business or your first vacation home, whatever that case may be. And that is really like my real passion, is kind of taking all this knowledge that I've gathered and applying it to tangible situations here at home.
Thank you, Richard. Appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you.
Richard's
Thank
info
you.
will be there.
Yeah.
You guys know where to find me. And yeah, we'll catch you on that next episode. Appreciate
Awesome.
you guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.